Hi Karina, hi Juan. Just to let you know, this is your Wednesday lesson for your second video lesson for this week. Okay, so there's a slight change of plan, as you've been seeing on your timetable. We're going to continue with the reading and speaking from the previous lesson, which is talking about a tragic dynasty. So hopefully you remember what a dynasty is, which is a famous family and the famous history of a family. So today what we're going to be looking at, the last few activities, and I'm going to explain to you a project what I would like you to do in the meantime, just to keep your learning going. And if you have any questions, just look at the description at the bottom of this video. My email address is there and you can email me any questions. Okay, so hopefully you're both well and hopefully that you are keeping very well. And as I say, welcome to my living room. This is where you'll be having your lessons probably for the next little while. Okay, so we're continuing on with activity 4. So I want you to spend a few minutes looking over this on page 90 and 91 in your textbook. I want you to look at this. We're looking at John Paul Getty II. So John Paul Getty II. So if we talked about John Paul Getty I on the first day, on Monday, and now we're going to look at Jean Paul Getty II on this lesson as well as the remaining family members. Okay, I want you to look at the text very carefully. Okay, I want you to look at the text very carefully and answer the questions in number 4. So read about Jean Paul Getty II and answer the questions. Okay, so I'm going to give you about 8 minutes, okay, to pause this video and then answer the questions, and then we'll go through the answers. All right, you have 8 minutes. Take your time. Off you go. Okay, now that you are finished, we are going to go through the answers for activity 4. Okay, so I want to ask you, which adjectives best describes John Paul Getty II's relationship with his father? So would you say they were close? So close, they have a very strong relationship. Distant means they don't talk very much. Loving, is there a lot of love in this relationship? Cold. Now what cold means is that there's no emotion. There's no emotion towards the other person. Cruel. Cruel means nasty, not nice, bad. You're cruel. That means that's what is meant by cruel. And caring, someone who gives a lot of love and help. If you looked at the text closely, as I said, John Paul Getty was the son of Paul I's fourth wife, Anne Rourke. His parents divorced when he was 3. The young Paul II rarely saw his father, but he wrote to him. His father never answered his letters. He just returned them with the spelling mistakes underlined. So you can see distant being one, cold possibly, and cruel another. Okay, let's look at number 2. How many wives did he have? How many wives did he have? Jean Paul II had 3 wives. Okay. Who were they? Their names were, if you look at the text, Gail Harris, who he divorced in 1964, Talia Paul, who died of a drug overdose in 1971, and Victoria Holdsworth, who stayed with him until he died in 2003. So just remember, it's not 2003, 2003. All right. Okay. So moving on. Okay. With that, number 3, what did he have in common with his father? What do he have in common with his father? That they weren't good fathers. which is going to explain itself later in this text. Okay, so who was kidnapped and where and why? So his son, who we're going to be reading about shortly, John Paul Getty III, his son was kidnapped in Rome. Okay, his son was kidnapped in Rome, if you look at the text, for a ransom of $17 million. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. But the problem did not end there. If you look at Act number 5, why did Paul I refuse to pay for the ransom? Now, a ransom is when you have to pay money to get something or someone back. He refused to pay it because he said, I have 14 other grandchildren. That's not the actions of a good person, I don't think. Okay, so he had 14 other grandchildren. In other words, he said, not my problem. But if you look at question 6, why did he change his mind? If you look here, what's this? It's an ear. The people who kidnapped John Paul Getty III cut his ear off and sent it in an envelope. Sent it in an envelope to his father, and then as a result, John Paul I had to take action. So, as a result, the money was sent. And how much money did Paul II inherit? That's Jean Paul II, and what did he do with it? Well, he inherited, that means he got from a person who has passed away or died, 2.5 billion. That is a lot of money. 2.5 billion. And he donated 2.25 million to the arts. Okay, so he donated 2.25 million to the arts. And finally, in number 8, where was he living when he died? And where is he buried? So where is he buried? What cemetery is he in? Well, he was living in England and he was buried in Westminster Abbey. Okay, so there are the answers for number 4. Okay, now I want you to look at activity 5. Now, I want you to read about Jean Paul Getty III. Okay, so Jean Paul Getty III, which is the next one down. Okay, what I'd like you to do, I want you to read the text and I want you to make a list, points. So make a list of points of the tragic events in his life. So the things that were bad in his life. And I want you to write, who do you blame? Okay, who do you blame? So you write your answers and you send them to me, okay, to check. All right, okay, so there you go. I'm going to give yourself 8 to 9 minutes to complete this, okay? So pause, and then when you're finished, we will start into the next activity. Okay, so welcome back. So now let's look at activity 6. Now we've been looking at present perfect and present perfect continuous. Now I want you to read the last text at the bottom of Balthasar Getty. I want you to complete the questions about him, and it's going to be a little bit different. I want you to write the questions and write the answer to those questions. So, like with the previous exercise, write it down. You can take a photo or type them and send them to me. So you can send it as a photo or type it and send it to me as an attachment. Okay, so read about Balthasar Getty, write out the questions and answer the questions. Okay, give yourself 10 minutes to do that. Okay, so pause the video and then return. All right, So here is the final part of today's lesson. Now, I want you to look at a possibility of doing a short project. So the bottom of page 90, let's do a short project. I want you to investigate or research a famous family. A famous family. So a famous family in the past, in the present. Who is a famous family? Someone interesting. Something interesting. Write some facts about this family, different members. Like for example, you see John Paul Getty the first, second, third, and Balthasar Getty. What other family members do you know from another family? Okay, I want you to base your project on your famous family and investigate. Okay, investigate your famous family and point out what are the good things and the bad things about this family. Okay, so I want you to write it out, type it, or take a photo and email it to me. Okay, so that is the end of today's class. Okay, for your project, I will give you a week to finish. So your project is your homework. Okay, so your project is your homework. Give you 1 week and we'll see how we are going with that. If you have any questions, as I say, type some questions at the bottom of this video or send me an email. Okay, hope you are both well and I hope you're keeping healthy and happy, and I will see you both soon. Have a very good weekend and stay safe. Bye.